Welcome to Tel Aviv. I'm in Israel. It's December. Oh, I don't know the date again. Oh, maybe I can find it out real quick. It's Saturday, December 14th. I think this is what they call Shabbat or something like that. It's nobody is supposedly supposed to work as a Jewish person on this day. So they have Saturday off and then they work on Sundays. But I'm at the beach in Tel Aviv, which is by far one of the better beaches on the planet. They have almost anything and everything that almost any type of person would want, from shade to exercise, from they're a little short on the shopping. They really need to increase the shopping situation because 90% of the people go to the beach, then they go shopping as tourists, okay? But there's really hardly any tourists here right now. We did have 3 guys from India come in yesterday, which is kind of unique. But today I want to talk about simplicity, okay? And I'm writing a book about simplicity. I'm writing not about simplicity. I'm writing a book about the philosophy of. It's going to be called something like The Philosophy of. And then I pick out a topic and then I write about it in a chapter. And it's my opinion, and I'm not trying to earn money. I'm just trying to talk to myself in a way that makes me a better person. Okay, but simplicity. I'm always there's people who always want to define me. And actually, no definition of yourself is simple, okay? But when you start trying to define yourself, you start having problems. You can say characteristics, like I've lived in 15 countries, and I've been doing this for 26 years, and 27 years in March. Okay, but philosophy is simple. I'm not a minimalist. I don't define myself as a minimalist. I am not making a decision to have the least amount of things. That's not my goal, okay? I'm not trying to do. I am only, I'm a realist, okay? I live simple. I adapt to real life, always with the goal of needing less to think about. Okay, so what does this mean? Every single item you have is something to think about, but you can keep score. You keep score of whether or not you are you're living a simple life. The more items in your life, count them. The more items in your life, the less simple you are living, by far. I would never want to have a 10,000 square foot house ever in my life. I think that's the absurd. If you look at Warren Buffett, he lives in about the same place, does about the same thing, and because he lives a simple life, he doesn't pay attention to the creature comforts. He basically lives in his head. And that's the entertainment that I have too. I wander around today searching for tomorrow, avoiding decisions that continually stifle my ability to adapt to an ever-changing world. There are things that stop me from adapting. And that's when I lock in, when I say I'm going to do this, when I'm going to do that, or whatever. But normally people want to hook you into committing. And this is the opposite of a simple life. When you tell me how much, we're in an ever-changing life, so the amount of money we have, where we live, everything changes. And truly, the minute you say something, that's the last minute that this is true. But less thinking is simplicity. The art is to accept that we must disagree with 99% of the mankind to live simple. I'll repeat that. Less thinking is simplicity. Less items, more simplicity. Less thinking is simplicity. The art is to accept that we must disagree with 90% of mankind to live simple. The universal lie. There's a lie that everybody says. The universal lie is everyone says, I want a simple life. Everybody says that, but nobody actually, if you watch their actions, it's the opposite. Somebody behind me. I'm on the beach at 7:30. The sun rose at about 6:30 here in Tel Aviv. Okay, I want a simple life, and then they do the opposite. I believe we are genetically hardwired to acquire more, and thus think more. Less thinking is simplicity. Why are we hardwired to have more items? In my opinion, it's because the only way we can get a mate Basically, the competition for marriage and family and stuff is how many things I can offer to you. I tried to tell a girl in, where was I at? I think I was in Turkey. I said, I'll take you to Iraq and trade you for, 70 red camels. And she said, no, I want like brown ones or something. But please count the number of items in your life. Each requires thinking. Every one of these things that you have, no matter what you do, is a little nail in your brain that requires thought. It's simple. Remove the number of things, then we have fewer thoughts. Simplicity and removing the number of items is the stuff that controls our mind. But people also, every commitment, every time you say something, every time you lock into an opinion, you are making your life less simple because people around you will hold you to that opinion because they are genetically hardwired to weigh and measure you by what you say and not really by your actions. But you should, in my opinion, I want to only be judged by my actions. I don't really care what I say because everything I say changes daily. But talking is a sport, a pastime, one of the best forms of entertainment. When we don't take ourselves too seriously and simple, strive to be consistent and congruent in our actions, we realize nothing requires more effort or thought than trying to make our world make sense. That is the problem. When you try to prioritize, when you try to explain the world, when you try to make sense. I had a lady in Cyprus. She kept trying to explain why Daniel fell down drunk and hurt his head. And I said, stop it. It's crazy to postulate all these never-ending. She came up with at least 50 different reasons. I said, when he returns, we'll know the answer. But she had to, in a dysfunctional. See, this was dysfunctional because it doesn't function because it was just a guess. But yet nothing truly makes sense. And even if it did, it wouldn't be all that important. Nothing matters, and what if it did? I saved my life from committing suicide when I was laying on a couch 37 years ago by saying to myself, nothing matters, and what if it did? Because if it mattered, then I should kill myself. If I cared what other people think, I should kill myself. If I don't care, then nothing matters and it's not important. But when a friend reminds me what we said, when a friend reminds me what I said a couple weeks ago, I should change this word. I had we. What I said a couple weeks ago, they are not living simple. They're actually trying to commit their life. They're trying to make my life more complicated. They're trying to hold everything. When somebody judges a politician on something they did 50 years ago, or they talk about Donald Trump philandering around with women, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years, they don't realize that they don't give the right for a person to change. I wander around today. That's what I do. I wander around today searching for something to do tomorrow. I really can't live totally one day at a time because I have to kind of have everything I need in place for doing what I'm going to do tomorrow. And there are simple things. But people cause your life to be complicated. Why? Because they bring up all these turmoils. And to me, the devil is the devil is a person that wants you to argue or be angry. I'm a realist. I want you to accept reality. And most people that get very angry at me is because I explain reality as I see it. And they want to demand that I not have that opinion. Nothing is more anal than to try to tell another person that they don't have the right to think the way they do. There is nothing more stupid, idiotic than to tell a person they don't have a right to think. Everybody has a right to be smart. Everybody has a right to be an idiot. Yet, yes, I love to think, ponder, have an opinion. I'm an extreme realist, wanting to understand the real world. However, I have no desire to make others listen. I could do so many more things to try to make this podcast thing, but I'm really talking to myself, and it's cathartic in a way that it reveals who I am by talking. When you take your ambiguous, nebulous, subconscious thoughts and put them into words, they become clear, and clarity is serenity in my mind, and it's simplicity, because what I want is a simplicity of thinking. And how do I get that? By making videos and talking to myself. I am talking to myself. I have no doubt. I lose a friend because they, with anger, try to force me to agree. 100% of the time, they agree. I try to get minimum levels of respect for people, and they won't even do that. Everybody's in the child of two, where they must disagree with everybody. If you read all the media right now, they're always having an opinion that this is not going to work out. There is hardly anything that is just actually news. This is what happened. When they come out with an opinion, just realize it's everybody's got opinion, and it's relatively worthless. Less thinking is simplicity. Art is to accept that we must disagree with 99% of mankind to live simply. Why do we disagree with 99% of mankind? Because 99% of mankind is acquiring stuff and things and items and more things to think about. And they have zero desire to keep their lives simple, because every time they buy something, it gives them another thing to think about. My life is not simple when someone attempts to make me agree with their opinion. That is the only problem. I got a thing here from, sometimes the best way to approach some of these things is to get on ChatGPT, OpenAI, and just ask them. So the art is simplicity, but I'm not going to go into this, but we have a bunch of different things here that I said. People often say, I do this, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to buy this and that. And those are not simple things. When you really just say, I'm going to go do something, it signals to me that we are hardwired, that it is beyond the power of humankind not to commit. It's really part of our nature to commit. We have a subconscious, inherent need to commit and make our world, at least while we're talking, adhere to it. We can genetically disobey our hardwired nature and say, I make a decision to live simple. I'm not going to say all these things. On the other side is hiding from the world is not a realistic. Anybody that's anonymous, that's using their wrong name, that has all these monikers and different ways of hiding, you're not even a real person. Our desire to we can make a decision to not engage, get entangled, become enmeshed in the things of the world. It's kind of the things of the world that enmesh us. We get hooked in because we want something. All the wars, I'm in here and they're having a war, and it's really about territory. Almost all wars are about territory or gods. I mean, the Christians cause war, the Muslims cause war, the Buddhists, the Hindu, everybody causes a war because they want to force another person to agree with it. Sharia law, which is one of the most controlling religions on the planet, maybe next to Judaism, is they have a set of rules, and they actually must overturn the government. They got so many rules. In the Jewish religion, they got so many things they got to do. If a pan touches a pig, they got to do so much. They got to bury it and all this stuff. The Christian religion has like 12 decisions, 10 commandments, and then love thy neighbor as thyself. But pretty simple. Ask for forgiveness. I'll skip this part. Okay. At the end of the day, the less thoughts. You have the ability to keep score of your life and try to understand how simple it is. Just go about trying to count the things that you have. And if you really want to simplify, if you haven't touched it in a year, you haven't touched it in 3 months, like anything I have in my backpack that I don't touch in 3 months, I throw away. Because obviously by not using it, the action of not using it or the inaction of not using it means that I don't need that item. And then if I get rid of the item, when I'm scoping my world, I really don't see it and I don't think about it. I have a simpler life. Okay, I'm here and you're not. Why not? I'm in Tel Aviv, Israel, on the beach. It's 7:30, almost 8 maybe now. It's 8. Become a Patreon if you'd like to get on the Sunday night 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zoom chat, or help support my search for the truth. If you'd like to read the chapters as I write these things, you can send me your email and I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you with another group. Life is good. I'm here and you're not. Become a Patreon. We also have a GoFundMe page where I have money. Any of the descriptions on my channel you're on right now has a link to the Patreon, and it also has a link to the GoFundMe to help me live in Israel. So I'm going to live in the most inexpensive places first, then work myself over to the more expensive places. This guy's cleaning up the beach. I got to go.